Hey guys, welcome to eMath. Today we are going to talk about something like no hardcore math or calculus, but rather the application of mathematics in real lives. What I meant by real life application is not that we need to solve quadratic equation or to find derivatives or you just want to buy an apple, but rather I'm talking about the thought process, the mathematical thinking. In this video, I'm going to share with you how mathematical thoughts are used to explain the phenomena in the society and how to construct a social theory with a math model. Before we begin, this video is brought to you by AZeacher.org, which is a knowledge-based organization that provides facts behind every issue. Yesterday, you may have heard about the Trump impeachment. On AZeacher, they explain what is impeachment and its implication to any particular country. It is free to join and read, from politics, environment, to psychology and human cognitive, and even world history and Christianity. You can read any topic you like on this platform. Enrich yourself with knowledge. The world today is divided by race, wealth, gender, religion, and anything that is distinct among humans. And this divisive nature of human society gives privileges to certain group of people. As a result, the world today is full of discriminations, exploitation, victimhood, prejudice, and inequalities. But aren't we all the same? Aren't we all human beings that are equal before law? Aren't we all creation of God? How to make sense of this inequality? Surprisingly, mathematics or pure mathematics, the mathematical thoughts can explain this. I'm not sure if you have heard the TED Talk by Dr. Eugenia back in 2018, but I want to share something interesting from that talk combined with my own experience. Let's start with a simple exercise that we have done in grad school. List down all the factors, or you might call it divisor, of 30. So we know that all numbers are divisible by 1, and 30 is an even number, which means 2 is a factor of 30. Then you see a 3, so the next one will be a 3, and you know that it is also a multiple of 5 because it ended with 0. Then 30 divided by 5 is 6, so we have 6. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 30 divided by 2 is 15. And lastly, 30 divided by 1 is 30. So we have 8 factors in total. Yeah, I know it's boring. There are just a bunch of numbers. But don't worry, we're going to do something more interesting. What I plan to do with this number is to link them together by thinking which of this number is also the factors of each other. Then we draw something like a tree diagram, or you might call it a family tree. So on top, we have our great-grandparent, 30, and then 15, 10, and 6. 5 goes into 15 and 10, 3 goes into 15 and 6, while 2 goes into 10 and 6, right? And we know that 1 is the smallest factor of all numbers. If you notice, there's some kind of hierarchy going on here, isn't it? From top to bottom, from left to right, from a greater number to a smaller number. And if you remember what are prime numbers, you may also notice that the one on the second level, which is 5, 3, and 2s, they are all prime numbers, which can only be divided by 1 and themselves. On top of them, 15, 10, and 6 are simply the product of 2 of the 3 prime numbers below, and 30 is the product of all 3 of them. Now we have constructed a model that explains the relationship between some numbers. And in fact, we can replace them with anything. X, Y, and Z? Yeah, I know. A lot of you had it when the alphabet start coming into math. But there's the point of doing this. Or you may like to call it algebra. because it means this model is now widely applicable. Let's come back to our question. Why are there privileges and inequalities? Well, let's think of three privileges. Wealth, like the rich are always more privileged in a capitalistic society. What about race? Some races are given privileges by the constitution or simply because of the stereotypes like white supremacy that is left by the history. And gender. I'm not trying to be suggestive here, but some gender just appears to have some privilege over another in some areas. Okay, so let's use capital W, R, and G for all the dominant characteristics. Now we substitute X with wealth, Y with dominant race, big R, and Z with dominant gender, big G. Next, I'm gonna put back the remaining adjective to give you a clearer picture. So we have submissive race, denoted by small r, non-wealthy people, small w, and submissive gender, small g. So if we just look at this diagram, we can conclude that the one on top is always more privileged than the one at the bottom. But there's something else that we can see from this diagram. Let's come back to the family tree of 30. As we can see, the lower the level, the less prime factors the number have. And each level has one prime factor less than the level above it. Then, what about our society? One downward arrow means a direct loss of one type of privileges. In the context of Malaysia, the country where I live in, sometimes people mistakenly thinking that all the natives, or we call them Bumiputra, are more privileged than others because of what is stated in the constitution. However, we all know that it is not true because we still have natives who are not wealthy and they are still unable to climb up the social ladder today. Similarly, when people are arguing that all female politicians are less privileged than male politicians, they ignore the fact that some people tend to support politicians of the same race as themselves because of the similarities in culture and political ideology. Here's an extreme example. A rich female politician from the dominant race can be the deputy prime minister, but not a rich male politician from the submissive race. So the social inequality is not as simple as we think. If we take it further, going through row by row, we may notice that people on the same level are also not equal. Just like 15 is greater than 10, 10 is greater than 6, a wealthy female from dominant race is definitely more privileged than a poor, unemployed male of the same race who can't even put food on the table. So our society actually looks a little bit skewed like this. And the tension exists between the layer of privilege in the diagram and the absolute privilege the people in the society actually experience. That is why some poor men from the submissive race are so angry at the women empowerment movement because they think that they are less privileged than those women, but nobody cares about them. And the society, which is awash by gender stereotypes, continuously expect them to be better, like get a higher position in the company, earn more money, or at least be the breadwinner in the family, because of the gender privilege that is already given to them. And the truth is, in terms of absolute privilege, they feel nothing. They don't actually feel that they are privileged because of their gender. Again, social inequality is more complex than we think. But having a tool to understand this situation is more productive than simply giving more privileges to those who are less privileged, or just to simply shout out the privileges given to the other group. The entire study of sociology and psychology is built on the assumption that humans' behavior follow particular patterns, and math is the study of patterns. So it is not surprising that philosophy of mathematics is applicable everywhere in our lives. Again, I'm not an expert in social sciences, so if I have made any mistake throughout the video, just feel free to correct me in the comment section down below. If you'd like to read more on sociology and psychology and other topics, click on the link below and pay a visit to AZeacher.org. If you wish to have more videos on mathematical sociology on this channel, let me know by giving me a thumbs up and share this video. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.